Gertrude and Ruth. Thank you so much. It's so lovely, Ruth, to put a face to the name. um, yeah, that's a bit unexpected, but
I
I
know.
can, I can go. It's okay. I was sort of thinking I've still got an hour, but no, that's absolutely fine. If you just give me a moment, just to get myself
Well,
sorted.
thank you for stepping up. Yeah, we've had to change a couple of things around.
No problem.
Wonderful to have you.
So, very good morning, everyone. So, we're in the UK. So, evening for you, Gertrude. I saw you with your nice comfy blankie, which is amazing. I feel like I need one. It's freezing here in the UK. So, so yeah, welcome everyone. I'm so honoured to be here with you today, and so thank you from the bottom of my heart. That you've made the time to join us and to listen to me, to listen to my story. So I'm Marilise de Villiers. I'm the founder and CEO of Marilise de Villiers Basson Consulting. I'm a mindset and a performance coach, best-selling author, and people and change leader. So today, over the next sort of 15 minutes, I know you're gonna mute me if I go over time, go through, so I'll stick to my time.
Yes.
But really, I'm going to share with you my story, and I'm going to show you how you can ignite you and ignite the power of your voice. So in 2017, I had a successful corporate career, yet I was feeling exhausted, without purpose, and missing out on life with my family. I was piling on the pounds, I was drinking too much, working all hours, and just completely tired of firefighting, just tired with life. Unfortunately, I was also working for a boss that was bullying me and everybody else. And my nightmare went on for almost 4 years. So he was the managing director, and I was his most senior employee. And it took me a very, very long time to realize that his behavior was toxic. Surely it wasn't normal to wake up every morning, feeling sick in your stomach just by the thought of going to work, being too scared and too anxious to walk past his office, to speak up just for fear of him shouting you down or belittling you in front of your team. So I got to the point where I lost count of how many times this has happened, and my mental and my physical health was suffering. And most importantly, and Ruth and Gertrude both picked up on the importance of relationships and being a mother and being a wife, the relationships with the people I love the most was suffering a great deal. My marriage was hanging by a thread. So every time I thought it couldn't get any worse, he would pull another one out of the hat. And I remember it like yesterday. I was sat in a boardroom full of people, my team, when he dropped the bombshell. In his usual my way or the highway attitude, I know what's best for everyone, he casually announced that he was going to step in to do my job temporarily whilst I work on a project full time. So instead of managing the team and the portfolio, I was just going to work on a project full time. Now, I was okay with that because it was just a temporary arrangement, right? Well, think again. He suddenly announced the arrival of a new director, only with a slightly different title. Did he really just demote me? I instantly realized that this was not just a temporary arrangement. It felt like being kicked in the stomach. I swallowed back my tears. My survival mode kicked in, which meant I completely zoned out and I just stared at my lap. I was literally feeling paralyzed and too ashamed to make eye contact with anybody. I was done fighting, mentally and physically absolutely defeated. And I barely made it to the bathroom afterwards where I cried my eyes out. But then I looked up. I was staring at myself in the mirror and I realized and I saw a flickering, a faint little flickering of hope. And I heard a little voice deep down inside me say, Marilise, Enough is enough. So the next day, I quit. So shortly after I quit, I I was just hating it. Like I literally stayed at home. I was, tired. I wouldn't say depressed, but really deeply saddened by the whole situation. And so much of my life was wrapped up in my work identity, my work persona, and I just felt completely lost. And I hated that feeling. So I quickly realized that I had to get myself back on the successful path that I've been traveling on, a path full of meaning, full of joy, and full of fulfillment. So I took 3 steps, and I want to share those steps with you today. If you might take some inspiration, if you're going through a difficult time, if you have an obstacle that you have to face, hopefully this is something that you can take away. So the first step was to get honest. The second step was to get clear, so clarity on my purpose. And the third step was to get help. So getting honest was really about, holding up the mirror and facing my situation, getting really truthful about, my situation and where I was. So how did I get myself there? Why did I allow the abuse to go on for so long? Why didn't I keep boundaries after I set them so early on? I had to recognize the role that I played in the relationship breaking down. I had to face up to my own limiting beliefs and my own self destructive patterns of behavior. And do you want to know my biggest limiting belief? That I'm not enough. My whole life until that point, I've never felt enough. Never pretty enough, never smart enough, never thin enough, never successful enough, just never enough. So, in the process of being bullied, I also started bullying myself. My inner bully was out of control. So, the second thing I did was to get clear about my purpose. Now, the clarity came in stages, it didn't happen overnight. The first bit of clarity I had was that I had to get my health back on track. So I knew that I had to focus on my mental and my physical health. And the reason for that was because I had bulimia in my teens and my 20s. Bulimia is an eating disorder, and one that eventually landed me in rehab. And if rehab taught me anything, or taught me one thing, it was that I had to interrupt that downward spiral of negative, self destructive thoughts and feelings. So for me, focusing on my health was not negotiable. So after a few weeks of staying in bed, literally in my pajamas all day, I started going to the gym in the mornings. And this is where I met an amazing transformation coach. Which brings me to the third step, to get help and access the support required. Gertrude just mentioned how she asked for help. One of the hardest things we ever do, or people do, is to ask for help. We find it so incredibly hard. But that's really your steps towards progress and recovery. So I started working with this coach, and within 6 months, she helped me to get into the best shape of my life. I dropped from 27% body fat to 15% body fat. My health, my psychology, and my physiology was such an important part of my recovery, that not only did I want to get into the best shape of my life, I wanted to do it for life. And this is why it's so important to me. And then after my body transformation, I just became unstoppable. So 6 months later, I qualified as a coach. 12 months later, I published my book, Roar: How to Tame the Bully Inside and Out. And I've just launched a 12-week personal development program for aspiring female executives. And it's called Ignite You, Discover the Power of Your Voice. And it's based on my Ignite You blueprint, which I will share with you next. So imagine 3 concentric circles. On the outer circle, you have your authentic purpose. If you go 1 circle in, you have a circle with 4 quadrants. So the top half with the 2 quadrants in is your inner game, so your thoughts and your feelings. And then The bottom half of the circle, the bottom two quadrants, are your words and your actions. So in the middle, you have your psychology, which is thoughts, feelings, words, and actions. And then bang in the middle, you have roar. So this is about you finding your voice and speaking your truth. So authentic purpose, your thoughts, feelings, words, and actions, and then roar. So let's start with authentic purpose. Your purpose is born out of your life experiences and your uniqueness in the world. I passionately believe that the one thing that enabled me to ignite me and ignite the power of my voice and to bring me this far was to get crystal clear on my purpose. So let me ask you this. What is your unique experience? And how can you positively use that to positively impact people? Also, what do you desire to do in this world? Who do you have to become in order to leave a lasting legacy? Big questions, I know, but at the end of the day, I want you to dream big. I want you to dream and to see, the art of the possible. Gertrude's story is just an amazing example. Ruth as well. There is so much potential, and I want to dare you to dream. So I believe with my whole heart that my desire to shine a spotlight on workplace bullying and to help others expose the bullies would not have been so strong if I wasn't also sexually abused as an 8-year-old little girl. It made me realize that it doesn't matter whether the abuse is physical, emotional, sexual, or mental. Abuse is abuse, full stop. The invisible scars cut deep. And in both cases, I had to face similar emotions of fear, of guilt, of shame, of grief, of lies and illusion and attachment. In both scenarios, it was an older man abusing his position of power over me. They took my power. And in both scenarios, I took my power back. I exposed them, I spoke up, and in both scenarios, these men were held accountable for their actions. So yes, that's what's made me so determined to help people, women in particular, find the inner confidence and the courage to speak up. I always touch on my stomach area, when I say that, inner confidence, inner strength, inner courage, because that's your power zone. And that's what makes you feel in control of your life. So for me, it's about you taking back your power and unleashing that power. Ultimately, it's about you igniting you and discovering the power of your voice. So I've learned that we can only ever control 4 things: our own thoughts, our own feelings, our own words, and our own actions. We cannot control the thoughts and feelings of other people, cannot control the words and actions of other people. So today I would like to encourage you to start by turning your thoughts, your feelings, your words, and your actions into your 4 superpowers. And that brings me to Roar, right in the middle of my blueprint. Roar is not only the title of my book, it is also a 4-step process for navigating difficult conversations. Recognize the person's behavior, spot the bully, observe and stay present. Don't allow the irrational behavior to impact you and create neural dissonance. Observe and stay present. Assert or ask. Assert, this is how it makes me feel. Or ask, help me understand. How is this helping us to move forward? And then the final R is redirect. So moving the conversation towards mutual outcomes, towards win-win outcomes. It's not about you, it's not about me, it's not personal. It's about us creating a mutually beneficial, better outcome. So that's Roar in a nutshell. And now you have your very own blueprint to ignite you and discover the power of your voice. It starts with crystal clear clarity on your purpose, on your authentic purpose. It's about winning the inner game, your thoughts and your feelings. It's about winning the outer game, your words and your actions. And it concludes with Roar. When you ignite you and discover the power of your voice, you will find your roar. You've got this. Thank you.